Hello, everyone. This is Serious Trivia, and welcome back to our subscriber game tournament, as round 1 has just concluded today. And this is our 13 matchup for round 1. And the first thing I want to do is a big thank you to all 26 participants that were able to play out the matches for us, and it has been a lot of fun casting them. And we have the winners here highlighted in green. That'll be moving on to round 2. And I will be sharing the details of round 2 tomorrow in a separate video, as this one is more of an overview of what happened in round 1. And I think what we're most interested in is which generals were picked, and in total, from the 13 matches, we have 77 different generals selected. Now, those 77 are not unique, obviously. There are 37 unique generals from those 77 selections, and they are shown here with the number of times they appeared right under the graph. So the most popular generals were Cao Cao and Ma Chao. They each appear 6 times. Yan Baihu is a close second or third, depending on how you want to count it, with 5 appearances. Then Yuan Shao, Huang Fusong, and Guan Yu appeared 4 times. Zhou Yu appeared 3 times. And then we have 12 generals that appeared 2 times. And then we have a couple generals who appeared only once. There are 17 of them here on the left. Now, aside from a reflection of how strong these generals are individually, a lot of time the selection has to be based on what retinues they can bring into multiplayer, as the game has default rosters for each general based on their faction. So it is not surprising to see generals like Ma Chao, who can command the town units, or perhaps Yuan Shao and Cao Cao, who has access to the northern units, as well as their new round of unique units added in the Fates Divided DLC, at the top of the list. And generals like Huang Fusong is one of the few generals who have access to Imperial units, so that's why they're on the list here. Yan Baihu is more of his special ability based on his armor, giving unit stock. Zhou Yu is probably picked as a counter to Yan Baihu. He's one of the few strategists who has the ability to foresight, and this includes generals like Guo Jia, Zhuge Liang as well, and you can see them on the list as well. Overall, it's a small sample size. 13 matches is not too many, and the meta, quote unquote, is still evolving. Some of these are, general strength, and if used properly, they could definitely sway battles. Zhang Jiao, Zhang Fei all have very powerful abilities, and certain generals use skill shots. So the likes of Taishi Ci, Huang Fusong, Gan Ning with their Hell of Arrow, also He Man, a very popular choice along all the generals. So hopefully we'll continue to update this as we move forward with the matches to have more data based on which generals are more popular and thus perhaps more efficient in multiplayer. And as an added component to multiplayer, the units are also very important. So there will be a multiplayer unit tier list coming out next week. We're going to do it by class because there are simply way too many units to rank in one video. So all the purple units will get ranked together, and plus the colors does sort of define the function of the unit, so it's best we compare them with their own color. And in the end, you can compile the information from the 5 videos for the 5 colors to make your choice in terms of which generals you feel are probably the strongest in multiplayer. And perhaps we'll do a massive tier list of all the generals available of their rank in multiplayer. Now, moving beyond this, we want to see how they actually performed apart from being selected. So this is an infographic on their performance. We have currently 10 generals who are undefeated. Now, a lot of this has to do with showing up only once. Only Wen Chou has won both of his matchups, whereas the other 9 generals have only been played once, and they were lucky enough to win their matchup. I'm actually quite surprised that Sun Ce is not higher on the selection list, as he does have a unique roar that present the minus 50 morale, and he also has Flame the Phoenix and a good roster of units, since the Wu roster was updated when he had the World Betrayed DLC launched. Then for the winless side, we currently have 9 generals that are winless. Most of them have only appeared once as well, so there's a lot of variance here. Cao Ren unfortunately has appeared twice and lost both of his matchups. For our most popular generals, Cao Cao and Ma Chao both appeared 6 times. Cao Cao is currently 4-2, Ma Chao is 3-3. Yan Baihu is 2-3. Now, some of those matchups were Yan Baihu against Yan Baihu, so there's not a lot of weight to that. And for all the generals who appeared 4 times, they're all sitting at currently 2 and 2. And Zhou Yu, who is sitting at 3 appearances, is at 1 and 2. So for those that appeared twice, most of them are 1 and 1. The 2 that are 2 and 0 and 0 and 2 are shown here, so you can make out the rest pretty easily. And we'll continue to update this as well as we move to future rounds that's relevant, because the round format will be a bit different. Not all of them will be an open field fight. So we're going to see this tournament evolve, and hopefully it got a lot of you interested in multiplayer. Seems like a very common request is, when's the next tournament? Well, I'm not particularly sure on when it will happen, but given the interests, we'll definitely have more tournaments in the future. Perhaps open, where we can have different regions represented, since the server does create some lag across distances. If you're playing, for example, in America versus someone in Asia, there could be a small lag depending on the internet quality. Oftentimes, it's not a big issue, but we did have one surrender in the round 1. So perhaps next time, if we get enough interest from the different regions, we can have a tournament that plays to top 4 for each region, and then have an inter-region gameplay where we sort of have a mini world. We'll see how things go. It's probably going to be a project for next year. Coordinating these tournaments is very difficult because everyone obviously are in different time zones, and getting everyone time to actually play out these tournaments is rather difficult, which is why, once again, a big thank you to everyone who has participated, and a huge congratulations to the 13 players that are moving on to round 2, and we're going to see their games next week. So until then, bye.